This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is Thursday, May 9th, and as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So probably one of the best pre-market mornings that we've seen at least all week, but we had some decent ones last week, but definitely a lot of good things going on out there. So first thing going to be looking at is Oxy. So Oxy, we can see this morning, we have a whole bunch that's going on. First thing that we saw coming back up is we had that refreshing on the ask side of things at that 57 level coming back in. But earlier, it's not letting me go back to all of the prints, but earlier we had some huge selling that came into this thing as we were coming down towards that 58 level as well. So just really looked like a bunch of covering that came back in at that 57. You can see just not really enough whatsoever. And then unfortunately, like I said, it's not letting me come back up, but above at that 57 level, above the 57 level, excuse me, and around that 58, just huge amounts of selling that we've been seeing coming in pretty much all morning. So you can see another, burst that just came in at that 56.80 level. So going to be expecting a pretty, sharp drop off before we come back up, but then the selling that we have back up above, we should really see this thing be able to continue towards that downside. Next thing looking at is TPR. So TPR this morning, this is another one that has a rather really good show of hand that we haven't really been seeing coming into the pre-markets. But you can see right here, 7:15 in the morning, 35 beautiful ask prints that came back in. Then we have beautiful ask prints at 36. 35.50, a little bit of selling that came back into there, but then we can see that new buying coming in at that 36 level as well. And it's multiple times that we've seen this coming in. So going to be expecting a little bit more than 35.50. I'm going to have to start with at least $1 pulling back down towards that 35 level before we see that move back towards the upside to satisfy that buying that we see at that 36. Overall, definitely looking towards that upside, but we're certainly going to need a pretty substantial pullback based off the amount of prints at that 36 level, as well as the amount of times that it hit that 36 level. Next one looking at is Roku. So Roku this morning is another one where it's a little bit all over the place. It's not the best looking stock that we have out there, but we can see we have, just, a huge amount of volume compared to what we usually see it trading during the morning. So coming over that 70 level, we have a little bit of buying, but then we do have a nice little burst that came in at 70.50. We can see we have our Laker colors that came in at 8 o'clock. Usually when we see something like this, we're going to be looking towards bullish above the top level of the print and then bearish below the bottom level. All right, and coming back in once again, it's not a huge amount, but we keep seeing nice little bursts of buying that are coming in. Roku is one of those stocks that usually gives us a really nice show of hand as well, which we haven't really got yet, but we can definitely see that new, that buying that is coming in. Obviously, they took, a pretty big jump yesterday from 65 all the way up to 72. It's kind of pulling back a little bit, which we've been expecting, some type of profit taking. But once again, definitely getting that new buying around that 71 level. Next one is STMP. So STMP is another one where we just have some really nice prints that came in. You can see right here at that 44.10, right above that 44 level. It's already down at 43, of course, but really nice position coming in, real ballsy position, especially because considering the fact 44 is going to be some type of support level to get in right above there. We can see obviously they're making their money already. So far as coming down towards this 43, we haven't really gotten anything too great yet, but we can see that it's just basically got crushed overnight. It closed at 83.39 all the way down to now we're sitting at that 40 and that 43 level. Going to be expecting to see some heavy covering coming into that, and then I'm also going to be expecting to see a lot of selling off of people's positions. So it really hasn't given us the best show of hand yet. We're going to wait for that, but we can definitely expect. You can see on average it moves $3.82. It's going to move a lot more than that today, obviously based off of what we see going on out there. Yeah, so Disney is the last one that I have on my list for today. So we can see it's definitely giving us a little bit of a mix. All right, so let's go back up towards the top where we could see from yesterday. We have 137. We got some selling that was coming into there. Now, we did jump up from that 137, and we can see we're coming back down towards the selling prints that we have that came from this morning at 135. So beautiful selling at 135, then 134.50. We have some ask that come in. So it is definitely mixed right now between those two levels. So really how we're going to take that is 134.50. We were expecting it to continue back down, and then we came back and pulled up to that 135, which once again, it's just all over the place. The 134.50 happened way earlier. So to pull back up and really show show that move above the 134.50. I'm going to be expecting that to happen later into the morning. I'm going to be expecting the 135 bid prints to come into fruition quicker because they're the closest coming towards the open of the market. But overall, really what you want to see in Disney is you want to see it kind of get away from this area, and you want to see it give a better show of hand away from around that 135, just because of the fact that it's just, once again, you have, can basically conflicting prints within 50 cents of each other, which just doesn't make for a very clean trade coming into the morning. We have better things out there for us to be focusing on. SQ, well, SQ is doing absolutely nothing. So I don't really have anything going on here. Remember, we had that huge selling at 67 from yesterday that hit a whole bunch of times. We pulled up from that, afterwards right here at that 67 level. We hit it about 4. I think Dave said it was 4 times that we had it coming back in. So we jumped up above $1 on there, and now we're coming underneath that 67. So as of right now, there's really nothing new for us to go on besides the fact that that person at 67 is making their money towards that downside. What's my favorite show of hand in Oxy? That's kind of an interesting question. My favorite show of hand? I don't really have a favorite show of hand. Overall, I'm just seeing way more selling than I am seeing buying. So really right now we're sitting at those lows. 58.50 doesn't really have much. What's your favorite? Oh, okay. I was going to say, that's a very odd question for somebody to ask. Basically Oxy. I'd have to go with Oxy right now just because it's one of the cleanest. And, once again, we've been looking at this for a while. This thing has needed to take a hit. It's been kind of, curving, kind of rounding back towards that upside, even though we remember coming back towards that 57 level from earlier, weeks ago, we had a bunch of selling that was sitting there. So, you know what? Oxy by far, one of my favorites. And then, like I said, I really like that TMP because of the fact that the range is usually $3.82, and it took this big of a hit. I'm expecting a huge amount of a sell-off, and I'm also expecting a huge rain within there. So STMP is definitely up there with it. Other than that, guys, I think that's about it. Anything else out there that I missed? Obviously, our everyday stocks taking a hit. We can all see that. I think, obviously something to do with the trade. TBLT, let's take a look. New, or did I just skip over? Nope. New for when we started talking, but absolutely, no question. 122, basically all buying over 120. Beautiful position taken right there. Let's see, anything it needs to pull. And it doesn't really need to pull back from 1 either. Let's see, let's go a little further in. Yeah, it still kind of does need to pull back a little bit underneath that 1 level, but absolutely. No question, TBLT makes our list, one of those cheaper stocks. It's just, unfortunately, it does look like it needs to pull back underneath that 1, but we do have some beautiful buying around this 120, which I love to see, especially having a print line underneath at that 119 level. All right, so let's get ready for the morning. We got a lot of stuff to look at, which is definitely a nice change of pace for going into the morning. I've already sent out the link for classes, so everyone should already have that. I will see everyone in the chat and talk to everyone in class at 10 a.m. Happy trading.